Hello, my friends. Oh man, look at that. The sun just moved. I'm at to lean back. Hey, my friends, it's Andy coming to you live from Agura Hills. Agura. It's not Aguro, is it? It's Agura Hills. And what happened was I was driving home from Hedia's house. Hedia lives about an hour and a half, give or take. Traffic. Sometimes it could be 3 hours. Sometimes it could be an hour away from me. And so I was on my way home. And I got to looking at the clock and I'm thinking about the devotional. And I thought when I get home, what I'll do is I'll do the devotional. Gosh darn it. Now this light's going to bother me. When I started typing everything, the light was perfectly fine. And so I thought, gosh, by the time, who knows, I may stop along the way and get lunch. Who knows, it could be like 4 o'clock by the time I get home. So I couldn't wait to do this devotional because I know so many of you depend on it. That might not be true, but I know that I depend on it. I depend on sharing the message with you. And this is, as I say this probably to all of them, but it's a good one. It really is a good one. And I want to share it with you. I'm going to put on my old man glasses. I'm in my truck, so I can't share the screen like I normally do. I don't know if you guys prefer that or not, but I'm not going to be able to share the screen. But I will put on the old man glasses because when I read from the book, the font's very tiny and it's hard to see. And it's like in cursive too. But it's January 2nd, obviously, 2021. Will you go out without knowing? And the reference, the passage Oswald references is he went out not knowing where he is going. Hebrews 11:8. Now, I forgot because sometimes I have people watching that don't normally watch, and it's my utmost for his highest is the devotional that I'm reading from. I'm so happy because we're starting from the beginning, and I will be going until about, I think it's May. I have to look on the date when I first started doing these things, and when I get to May, I will transition to a new book because I don't want to go through Oswald again, not because he's not fantastic, but because I want to make sure and do something a little bit different. And I think it's Wigglesworth is the one we're going to be doing next. I don't remember the title of the thing, but today's devotional, Oswald Chambers, my utmost for his highest. Will you go without knowing? Will you go out without knowing? Have you ever gone out in this way? If so, there's no logical answer possible when anyone asks you what you are doing. One of the most difficult questions to answer in Christian work is, what do you expect to do? Facebook Live, apparently, YouTube Live. You don't know what you are going to do. The only thing you know is that God knows what he is doing. Continually examine your attitude toward God to see if you are willing to go out in every area of your life, trusting in God entirely. It is this attitude that keeps you in constant wonder because you don't know what God is going to do next. Each morning as you wake, there is a new opportunity. I love that, to go out, building your confidence in God. Do not worry about your life, nor about the body. Referencing Luke 12:22. In other words, don't worry about the things that concerned you before you did go out. Have you been asking God what he is doing? Have you been asking God what he is going to do? He will never tell you. God does not tell you what he is going to do. He reveals to you who he is. Do you believe in a miracle working God? And will you go out in complete surrender to him until you are not surprised one iota by anything he does? Believe God is always the God you know him to be when you are nearest to him. Then think how unnecessary and disrespectful worry is. Let the attitude of your life be a continual willingness to go out in dependence upon God, and your life will have a sacred and inexpressible charm about it that it is very satisfying to Jesus. You must learn to go out through your convictions, creeds, or experiences until you come to the point in your faith where there is nothing between yourself and God. Wow, I love that. Especially as I've said often, is my walk may be slightly different than yours. I'm gonna look at these comments here. Hey, David, nice to see you, buddy. Happy New Year. Hockey Town, Hockey Tourney in Phoenix. I thought you said Hockey Town. Hockey Tourney in Phoenix. Hey, Vinny Pizzo, nice to see you. Glad you're on. And David, my friend, my neighbor, who is a fellow hockey fan, has his kids in hockey. But in my walk, the fear to go out early on was there. What I knew, though, and I hope I'm not yelling. I feel like I'm yelling, but I'm excited. What I knew from before, and this is for some of you, and Vinny is very spiritual, and I love. He gives me a big hug when we see him, and David has been with me from different periods of my time, knowing when I've been ungodly and when I've been godly, and so David knows me very well, but the important thing, and what I think is noticeable to some people, is that I've turned a corner in the sense that now it's almost exciting for me to come to you every day to read the devotional, to read certain aspects of the Bible. And the reason it's exciting is because that's how I learn. By going out in front of you, on these live broadcasts and sharing my life with you and sharing my walk with you and sharing everything that's going on in relationship to my past, my current, and my future, is how I'm going out. And the reason that I believe God has called me to do this is because He knows that's how I learn best. When I began to when I was in canine, for instance, I talk about my life as a canine handler. When I began to go out and teach at something called the International Police Canine Conferences early in my life, I was 25, 26 years old, and I was being sent out to all over the world to teach handlers and supervisors how to deal with police canines. And I was young. And I was like, man, do I even know what I'm talking about? But I was kind of like put into position early on, like I was given this opportunity. And that's when I giggled about this part. There is a new opportunity. Go out building your confidence in God. That is the biggest part to this whole thing to me, and should be a big part to you. As you go out and you have an opportunity to talk about something that maybe you don't know that much about, but you know enough. In marketing, in our mastermind group, in our mastermind retreats, we talk about, hey, you're an expert if you simply know something an hour before somebody else. That makes you an expert to that person who you're speaking to that audience you're speaking to. So if you know something, or you simply have a manual, and you can read from the manual and say, hey, let's discuss this, let's learn about this together, but you're the one who's bringing it forward, then you have an opportunity to share God's word, to share your knowledge or lack of knowledge, to bring you more knowledge. I hope that this is making sense. And so back to my canine life, when I was 25, I believe it was about 25, 26, when they first asked me, I just happened to have a great deal of success early on with my police canine. We were finding bad guys like crazy. We were finding hundreds of thousands of dollars of US currency related to dope transactions. We were finding tons of dope on planes and boats and trucks. And I don't know. It just was a really good time for me to be a canine handler. I had lots of opportunity. I took advantage of those opportunities, and then it led to more opportunities where I got noticed by this guy who created something in the International Police Canine Conference and said, wow, your work is impressive. You and your dog work really well together. Your dog seems to be a mind reader and does whatever it is that you're thinking. It doesn't even wait for her commands. And he noticed this because he saw me at competitions and other things. And so that opportunity says, I'm giving you the opportunity to come and teach other people how to do what it is you do. Now, I didn't know that much. I knew how to do it with my dog, but I didn't know how to do it with a bunch of other dogs and men with different personalities and that kind of stuff. But what was fantastic is by being put in that position, taking advantage of that opportunity, I learned more by teaching than I ever would have by not doing any of that at all. So I was given the opportunity to go out, and teach about something I knew little about, but was able to ask the right questions, was able to listen, was able to problem solve, and I knew where to go. I knew what manuals to go to. I knew what people to go to whenever I struggled with an answer. There were certain other instructors there that had 10, 15, 20, 30 years of experience, that whenever I got confronted with a question I couldn't answer, I would go to them. I would say, I don't know, Steve White, what do you know? I don't know, Bob Wright, what do you know? I don't know, Billy Knott, about this thing. How would you handle the situation? And these great men with more knowledge that I had surrounded myself with would come in and teach, and I would sometimes they would be wrong. Sometimes I go, well, I'm sorry I went to you, because what you're saying is not is not correct. But that's also powerful when listening to somebody and knowing when they're saying something wrong, and learning about that too is all valuable knowledge. So here I am coming to you, and this is what I was thinking about when I was driving. I cannot wait to talk to you all about this when it says here, and I'm going to repeat it again, because just in case some of you are just now coming on, I see the numbers kind of going up and down. is that when God calls you to go out and there is a new opportunity to go out, building your confidence in God, take advantage of that opportunity. If somebody says, "Hey, Vinny Pizzo, I want you to lead a men's group on security," and I know you just started security over there at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, I would suggest to you that you say yes, but can I bring somebody that has some, I want to do this as a team effort with somebody else that I know, not relying on them, but I mean, this is just an example, but coming alongside somebody that has knowledge. And now both of you can share what you do know and then learn from whatever it is the other person knows and take that as your own. It's all legal. You can take other people's knowledge because that's what's expected of you. That's how we grow. We always take somebody else's knowledge and take it as our own and use it to build our own knowledge. And then sometimes we become more knowledgeable than the original person that gave us that information. So I love this passage so much. It reminds me so much of my entire life. I became an instructor at the police academy, teaching about car stops, about consensual contacts, about what else was I doing? Of course, K9 and something else. I might have been helicopter deployments because I was an observer in the helicopter too. But there are these opportunities, and I was given to teach, and I learned so much when I was teaching. In the preparation for teaching the class, and then in teaching the class, because then people would ask me questions, and I would have to quickly process, and then sometimes say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going to get back to you. I'll get the answer back to you. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to find out, and I will make sure that you get the answer to that question. And then in my research to answer that person's question, I would learn more. And so don't fret or be worried about not knowing the answer to a question. It's okay if you don't know the answer to a question. You in God, most of the answers, this isn't a Bible, but I'm saying, well, let me see, let me look at bible.org on my phone. Let's learn together. That's perfectly fine, and people will respect you more if you say you don't know. If you try to fumble through something and try to pretend that you know something you don't, it's all that you'll be identified very quickly as a person who's a shyster. But saying that you don't know and then looking for the answer and then growing together and working together to find the solution, or like my example of Vinny, calling upon somebody to go with him to be like a team effort, teaching a team, that may be something that's very valuable. But don't miss opportunity. Don't miss opportunity to teach about God. If somebody in your family, sometimes my son will say, "Hey, I have this question right now. I read, or I was reading as I was driving down the freeway. I wasn't reading; it was being read to me audibly. But it said Joseph, the son of Jesus, and I go, I thought God was the son of Jesus. Can Joseph be the father of Jesus? Can Jesus be the son of Joseph and the son of God? Is that possible? And I guess so, because we have stepfathers, right? Who knows what's going to happen, if I get married, not if, but when I get married again, that my kids will call Hetty a mom, perhaps. And so I guess that's a possibility. But when I was reading, I go, I wonder about that. I wonder, because in the Bible it says Joseph. No, it says Jesus Christ, the son of Joseph, in Matthew, what I was reading. And those are things that I have questions about, and I need to look up and figure that stuff out too. So I'm not ever going to come to you and tell you that I know. Obviously, I know I'm an infant. I'm a child when it comes to my faith and the knowledge of the Bible and what God is trying to teach us on a day-to-day basis. And that's a good place to be. But I've surrounded myself with very knowledgeable people. I reference what I think is some of the best pastors right now, Jack Hibbs and from Trinity Driscoll, who else? Mark Driscoll, and there's a couple others that I reference and watch and listen to on a regular basis. And then of course we go to the Bible and we kind of cross reference and make sure that what they're telling us is they're telling us the truth, and that's important to know. All right, so don't miss opportunities. If you have an opportunity to go and be a little bit over your head, then go for it. Don't be afraid. That's a great place to be. All right, sorry, I went on a whole rampage there. Hello from Brazil. Nice to see you from Brazil. I'm not sure if I don't think I've had a viewer from Brazil yet on the devotional. So it's really great to see you. Again, a very important subject. Oh, well, good. I'm glad you think so. I appreciate that. And I love that you're on Twitter too. Twitter is a great place. Sometimes you never know what you're going to get on Twitter. You get some pretty crazy messages from Twitter, but thank you. And unfortunately, I cannot see. It's Paul, I think. Paul Ferdinand. Thank you for your comments. I do appreciate that very much. And Diane, nice to see you. Happy New Year. And again, Vinny, thank you for allowing me to use you as a speaking point there. And David, nice to see you. Hope things are going well at the hockey tournament and you guys are kicking some butt out there. All right, my friends. So that's it. That's my message for today. Again, do not miss an opportunity. Don't be afraid. Put yourself out there. I know that it's risky, or it feels risky. I know that it feels as if you're putting yourself in a position to fail, but that's okay. Failure is okay. You'll come back, and we learn a lot from failure, right? I mean, if we as children were afraid of failure, we never would have learned to walk, right? That would have been impossible. So we learned early on that failure is necessary to learn to walk, right? We learned that failure is necessary to learn not to stick a knife inside of an electrical outlet. We learned a whole lot of stuff, right? So failure is not bad. We hate to fail. I know I hate to fail. I failed in 2 marriages. Yeah, we don't, but that doesn't mean we can't do it again. I told myself after the second marriage that I would never get married again. I felt pretty strongly in that conviction that I would never get married again. And then here I am. We're talking about getting married. We're going to get married probably sometime this year, and build a life together with a huge family and a whole bunch of stuff. So never in my days, some, gosh, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, that I think that I would be in this position. I just never thought. I just said, forget it. It's just not for me, because I can't. I've obviously am not built for marriage. But I feel different this time. Everything seems a lot different, and someday we may do a whole message on that. Who knows? All right, my friends. I love you guys. God bless, and take care. And thanks for watching, especially those of you that are in Brazil. That's awesome. All right, talk to you later. Take care. Bye.